Everybody ready to go? Yes, sir. Okay, on Sunday, April 3rd, at approximately 12:13 a.m., Dallas police responded to a shooting call at the Trail and Ride, a concert located at 5050 Cleveland Road. A preliminary investigation determined that at the event, one individual fired a gun into the air. An argument then broke out. Then another unknown individual fired a gun in the crowd's direction. When officers arrived, a 26-year-old Kaleon Gilmore was found lying near the stage with a gunshot wound to the head. Gilmore died at the scene. 16 individuals were transported by private vehicles and ambulances to different hospitals. All are listed in stable condition. We're working around the clock on this case, and our thoughts are with the victims and their families. And we have an incredible team working on this case to find those that are responsible. We will have zero tolerance for this type of violence in our city. It's important to note that this promoted event did not have a permit. Wow. This crime is a prime example that non-permitted and promoted events can lead to violence. This, of course, can happen in any event. But a permit and proper promoter oversight, we can better be prepared for events and crowds, making sure events are as safe as possible and comply with our city ordinances. The same goes for us as a police department. We did have Dallas police officers working the event while off duty. While the off-duty employment was approved, these officers should not have been working the event that had no permit. We're looking at our internal policies to take a closer look at approvals for these type of jobs, ensuring that they comply with city ordinances and policies. It is the summer, and these events will be popping up all around the city. We want people to enjoy our city, but it should be done safely and legally. I want to warn the public that city ordinances will be enforced. If you have an event, whether it's at a city park, a venue, or an outdoor location like this past weekend, and if you need to have a permit, you will be held accountable. The job of the men and women of the Dallas Police Department is to keep this city safe. I stand behind my people. If any event requires a permit, unsanctioned, unpermitted in any part of our city, and needs to be broken up for safety or security, and there is reason for it, I support my men and women in their judgment. I realize that this might not be a popular decision, but if it saves lives, it's one that must be made. We'll be meeting with the city regarding these types of events, what can be done from a legal standpoint, possible to existing laws or ordinances. We must work together to ensure the safety of the people who live and visit here. People coming to an event should worry about enjoying themselves, not to have fear if they will make it home at night. We will have challenging days as a city, and this was one of them. But we also need the community to trust us in the great work the men and women of this police department do every day. And with that, we'll open up some questions. Yes, sir.
This is the second mass shooting in 2 weeks. What do you say to the public that's concerned about violence?
Well, these two incidents that have occurred, when we look at it, 2 incidents have resulted in 26 victims. Our goal in this police department is to reduce the number of incidents that we have in the city and thus reducing the number of victims. As we look, and I understand that these incidents obviously get a lot of notoriety and headlines, and one victim is too many. I think we also need to look back at where we're at as a department as a whole. As we look at violent crime, year to date in this city is down 13%. Aggravated assaults in this city are down almost 9% year to date. Gun-related offenses in this city are down 6.5% year to date. There are 381 less victims of violent crime year to date than last year at this point, coming off a year that this department made strides in reducing violence. And so although these incidents are serious to us, they're serious to the victims and their families. As the summer is getting closer, as we know, in most major city, it gets busier. We need to make sure that we're looking at all the blind spots we can possibly have to further reduce the number of victims that we have in the city. And so obviously we will be looking at these incidents. It's our job to leave no stone unturned to see how we can keep our community safe.
Is the organizer facing any charges or fines for this?
We will be discussing it with the city attorney's office for both the promoter and landowners as well to see what avenues that we can take. But absolutely, we're going to be looking to see how we hold individuals accountable.
Chief, you said that there was no permit at the event, but the promotional flyer said that there were police that would be on site, or DVD would be on
actually, I just said that a little bit ago, where we are aware that officers were there, that there were some internal procedures that weren't, that they got approval to work, but that they shouldn't be working events that were not permitted. They did leave prior to the violence that had erupted, but certainly we're looking at as a department to tighten that up as well. Although, we don't want to, although that's an internal issue that we're going to be dealing with, the reality of it is that these non-permitted events and the fact that we don't yet have a strong promoter ordinance in place that we are looking for as well, is what's leading to some of these events.
Can you tell us the age of the minors that were shot?
Well, I think we'll have that information. We'll have that information for you later through the PIO's office.
The officers that left, you said they left at one point.
Yes.
Did they leave for any particular reason, as in being alerted that there wasn't a permit, or?
We're still working through the reason why the officers had left when they did leave. Again, although we're definitely working on our internal process for the communication, the reality of it is that it was the unpermitted sponsored event that drew the crowds, that didn't have the safety protocols in place. That's the major issue. But obviously our communication needs to get better as well, and we're working through that.
Your suggestion should have been shut down.
I'm sorry?
You're suggesting should have been shut down because it did not.
But I'm suggesting the event shouldn't have been allowed to happen in the first place. But again, our officers were there, I believe on Saturday evening, the night that it was believed to have a concert there. But again, that's something that, we deal with here as a city, large city. Most large cities deal with it as well. But again, looking at these events, making sure these events are permitted, making sure that if there's promoters promoting events, to ensure there's a strong background process on promoters and the events that they're bringing to our city is something that needs to be done, and something that I've spoken to city leaders about, that we're going to be moving forward to look through and working with the city attorney's office. Yes, sir.
Chief, with the efforts of your police department, you used the term a blind spot. How blind of a spot could this have been when the hundreds, if not thousands of people were at that event in a city area, as you say, an unincorporated city area, where police officers were there? Did they not actually even communicate with this department about patrol, traffic flow, concern about public safety, even before one shot was fired, to your knowledge?
There were several calls that were in that area prior to the event. But again, the magnitude of what had occurred there, obviously in such a rural area, if we've all seen the map of where this is at, was a challenge. And so again, it's incumbent on us to look ahead, to do our best to have intelligence in place, to see when these events are occurring, to see if events have permits, to see the individuals that are promoting the events, and really to take, as we can, as you know, in a very large city, there's going to be a lot of events that happen, and be as diligent and work as diligently as we can. We know that these events, some of them can lead to this type of violence, and there's a reason why permits are in place. There's a reason why there are some areas in some cities that have promoters ordinances. These are areas that we definitely need to look into as a city and a department.
Chief, touch on the need for an ordinance. From your understanding, do you think this concert promoter didn't follow already established city guidelines, or do you think that the city needs guidelines?
I think it's probably a combination of both. To be frank, I mean, I think obviously for the location where this was at, there's certain things that come into place as a police department's perspective as to whether events would be safe or not. I don't believe this would have been one of them. In addition to that, there's laws or ordinances that can be placed on books with regards to promoters and ensuring that there are responsible promoters bringing events to cities. That's something that we are looking in. It's something that in my former employer in the city of San Jose had a promoters ordinance. And it's something that we're gonna look at and see if we can bring here. I believe there were 7 that left at approximately midnight?
10 or 11.
They left at around 11 o'clock prior to the shooting.
Do you have any video or any leads? Do you have any leads or videos of the shooter or the event?
Right now, again, the only thing I'll say about that is our homicide investigators are working diligently as they do on every case. We take this very seriously. Obviously, we want our community to be safe, particularly when we know that there's individuals trying to have a good time. We want people to have a good time. We just want to see this violence, and our investigators are working very, very hard.
Just so you're clear, the officers,
Hold on, let me get someone who hasn't asked one. Well, hold on real quick. Anybody else has an ask one that wants to ask one?
Last one, guys.
Since no one has, I'll go back. I want you to speak to the concern about guns. Not only this event, but the one on both John, et cetera. We talk about their gun violence daily, their numbers right now. But as the police chief of the city and seeing these kinds of events, I've got an adolescent or a college-age kid who's going to these parties and they're just randomly being shot. Talk to me about your concern about gun violence in the city right now.
I just came back from a conference with other major city chiefs in this country. There's not a major city chief in America that's not concerned about gun crime in their city, not one. And I feel the same way. We have a plan that our men and women are implementing. I know, as I mentioned before, that these incidents obviously should garner the attention that they're garnering, but at the same time, I don't want to lose sight of the tremendous work that the men and women of this police department are doing to reduce our gun violence in the city, as I just had explained. And so again, we have to look at if there are ways that we can strengthen policies, procedures, ordinances that we have in the city. We can't just throw a police officer at every problem. I have a tremendous relationship with our city council, an incredibly supportive mayor, and a city manager supports his police department, that I can guarantee you that if we need things to assist us to keep the city safe, that we'll get there.
Just a quick clarification, those 7 officers that left around 10, so there were no off-duty DPD officers when the shooting occurred?
To our knowledge, there were not any DPD officers in the shooting occurred.
And when they were there, what capacity were they serving? Was it merely presence, or were they like kind of directing security?
I think they were there as a security. And again, we're working through that. There's 2 different parts of this, right? We're dealing with the crime. I mean, you gotta understand, we gotta kind of split these up a little bit. We're dealing with the crime that occurred and deal with that. Myself as a police chief then has to look at internally, how could our processes work better? But however, I don't want to take the onus away from the fact that this non-permitted sponsored event, that should have been permitted, that we should have had an understanding what was occurring, that helped lead to this. So dealing with the crime, we want to find out whoever was responsible for it, to make sure our city and our residents know that these men and women are committed to them, and I have to deal with the internal communication as a police chief separately.
Was there private security also part of the
I believe there was private security as well.
Can we go in Spanish for it, or we can do it on the side?
Yeah, we can do it on site.